What's happening in the skies over Tel Aviv every night is a numbers game, a deadly serious one. The number of missiles that Iran is sending this way has been shrinking with each salvo, improving the chances of success for Israel's extensive interceptor system. The Iranians predicted that this barrage would be a surprise the world will remember for centuries, but given there were no casualties and little damage, Israel has forgotten about it already. What history will record is the ease with which Israeli warplanes are operating over Iran. At least 50 jets were sent that way overnight. One of their targets was a centrifuge production site in the capital, Tehran. The Israelis also attacked everything they could to do with the launch of missiles. The IDF says strikes like these are the reason the ballistic barrages being fired at Israel are getting smaller. Faced with this and the possibility of the Americans joining in, the Ayatollah remains defiant. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone aiming to impose anything on it, he said. As for American intentions, the president is keeping the world guessing.
You don't know. I may do it, I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction.
Many Tehranis have now heeded Mr. Trump's advice to flee the city. And despite the regime's attempts to rally the people, there are divisions, at least online.
There is a huge fight between Iranians on social media, whether they are against the regime here or with it. And so many people think that even they are against the regime, they have to support it because of the situation.
Here in Tel Aviv, the first plane load of Israelis stranded abroad by the war landed at an otherwise deserted Ben Gurion airport today. Good morning, Captain. How are you feeling? It is good to bring back the passengers safely back home, he replied. They've returned to a country very different from the one they left. John Irvine, News at 10, Tel Aviv.
Well, Robert is on the set of his Peston programme, which is coming up straight after this. Robert, the UK government is making preparations for what would be another major escalation if the US does get involved.
Certainly right, and my goodness, what a change from the last 24 hours. I mean, yesterday, when I interviewed the Prime Minister, he made it clear he did not think that Donald Trump would be making preparations to bomb Iran, and that's precisely, as we all know, what is going on right at this moment. So he convened his ministers and top officials and intelligence experts for what's known as a Cobra meeting this afternoon, and they have been debating how the UK should respond to this. Now, the official British position is still that they want a de-escalation, that's a ceasefire. That appears at the moment to be absolutely for the birds. So the question is, what kind of support, if any, the British government would give to the United States in the event that it does decide to bomb Iran alongside Israel. Now, my sources suggest that we are deeply unwilling at the moment to essentially have our pilots fly alongside American bombers. But that's not the only support that would be necessary. There's obviously intelligence support, which I suspect would be given. But then there is a very, very tricky issue, which is that the bombers that America would want to use to deploy these so-called bunker buster bombs that can go deep, deep into the ground and destroy this uranium enriching capacity that everybody says the Iranians have. The International Atomic Energy Commission says that they almost certainly have. Those bombers are stationed on a British property, Diego Garcia. And as I understand it, and I've talked to Peter Ricketts, the former National Security Advisor on my programme just now, and you can see his interview after the news, we would have to give permission to America to be able to fly its bombers from that particular base. And, you know, Rickett says this is an extraordinarily difficult position for the Prime Minister to be in, because were he to give permission, that would look as though we are essentially working alongside the Americans, you know, in this attack. So a very, very difficult set of decisions await our Prime Minister.
OK, Robert, many thanks. Well, let's go to Washington. Dan, the President is going to hold another meeting in the Situation Room shortly, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We don't know yet if it's already underway or certainly imminently about to start in the West Wing of the White House, the Situation Room, which is that famous sort of crisis conference centre, if you like. And the President himself has made it clear he hasn't made a decision yet. That decision may come very soon. But in order to facilitate any decision he makes, the US military is moving assets into theatres. So we're told today another US aircraft carrier is steaming east, this time the USS Ford. Now that is on a pre-planned deployment, but obviously it could be diverted into the Mediterranean very easily if it's needed. That will join two others that are already there. Robert mentioned the B-2 bombers. They are, we understand, on Diego Garcia. There are others stationed in Missouri here. There are a lot of KC-130 refueling tankers also scattered around the region, including on Cyprus, so they could facilitate in-flight refueling, which opens up all sorts of possibilities as to where and how they deploy. More fighter jets, we're being told, sent as well, which may play a kind of escorting role. But essentially, you know, President Trump has said next week will be big. Well, you know, right now, this feels like a pretty big pivotal moment, and the meeting going on right now behind me in the White House.
OK, Dan. Well, Emma is in northern Iraq, very near to the border with Iran. Emma, with world leaders unsure of what the Americans are going to do next, what is the impression you're getting where you are tonight?
Well, I've been speaking to a number of sources across the region and further afield during the course of the day. And the best way I can sum up the information that they're able to share with me is that they are completely aghast at what is being shared with them. There is a sense that neither intelligence communities in the US or the UK are being listened to. There is very much a feeling that Donald Trump is not taking advice more widely. He is listening very closely to Israel and to those closest to him. He is not seeking external support or indeed external guidance on this decision that he says he's going to make in the coming days. And I think that is what's causing the huge alarm here, that normally you would be in a situation with a decision as consequential as this, that other nations would be able to kind of read the room, look at the diplomatic signals that are coming out. But as one person said to me today, it is completely opaque and we have absolutely no idea where this is going or when it might happen. And that was a very senior figure. So, you know, that just gives you some sense of the jeopardy that this whole region feels that it is in at the moment. And for note, one of the other sources that I've spoken to over the last few days who deals very heavily in peace across this region was explaining to me that he understands that basically the one thing that they can be certain of is that Israel wanted to bring America into a war against Iran within days of October the 7th. And it might be that the one thing that is for sure is that that is about to happen.
OK, Emma, thank you. Well, in the last few moments, alarms have again started to sound in Tel Aviv. Debbie is there. Debbie, what's the latest you have?
Yes, as you say, Garan, as has been the case for the last few nights, just past midnight, we received an alert on our phone telling us that an attack was imminent. Then we heard the sirens, and just in the last few moments, I've seen the interceptors at work from Israel's Iron Dome once again. Iran keeping up its missile launches on Israel. The Israelis say that they're running out of missiles, and as you heard from John earlier, the intensity of these attacks and the number of missiles we're seeing come in here to Israel has reduced in the last few days, but Iran clearly, as we've just seen in the last few moments, determined to continue to put up some sort of fight.